We are here today to ensure that this spirit of love in God does not die. As Hassan Hathout wrote, the primary goal of people of faith should be the transmission of hearts from hating to loving. I would like now to ask our speakers to please return to the stage for a panel discussion.
So we will go over a few things for all the speakers to share their ideas with us. The first, how do you deal with people who have no spiritual dimension?
Anyone?
I guess you don't.
Let me answer that. Everybody has a spirit. So I don't think there is no one who does not have a spirit. Some people are conscious of it, some people are not conscious of it. What we have to do, we have to work with everyone, try to see the good in the other person, and how we can create this feeling inside of the other person. So this is the good dimension can come out. The only thing is those who are conscious of the spirit, how they behave toward those who are not conscious of it. That is, but all people have spirit, but this is what is needed. People forget, people ignore, people are not paying attention to. So it is the responsibility of those who realize this thing to behave in the right way, in the good way towards others. And this is the way I think we do that. Rather than being judgmental, people try to become more creative, more positive, more active.
But my first thought was very similar. I also believe that everybody is spiritual. And by that I mean that everybody has a spiritual dimension. I link the spirit with that pulse beat. It's the livingness in us, and it's that pulse beat that is tied to our deepest longings. So everybody longs for a world that holds us with care and compassion. Everybody longs for life and wholeness and vitality. Everybody longs for peace in this world, in their deepest core. To be sure, we are wounded, and there are persons, and all of us have distorted dimensions of our spirit. And the invitation that comes from my tradition to love even our enemies is really twofold. One would be to recognize that there is a great Quaker saying, there is that of God in every one. Every single human being still has some core within them that is a spark of the divine that can be fanned into flame. For some, it's very dim. It's barely flickering, but it is there in every one. And the other is that all people can be redeemed, that we can love persons by connecting with why have they become the way that they have. No one is born a killer. No one is born an abuser. So there is a whole life of wounding that has happened to them that would distort somebody's spirit to give rise to that kind of behavior. And so one capacity for compassion is to try to connect with the wound within the other that gives rise to the kind of behavior that we find so disturbing. And then the last thing that I would say from Jesus' teaching is, he says, whenever we see so clearly a speck in someone else's eye, well, we can look for the log in our own, which is to say that there is a relationship between those people that we find it so difficult to love, the people I most despise, the people I most dehumanize. In some way, they embody something in me, the log in me that I have not held with grace yet. Some shame, some secret way I'm like them, some secret way I've been wounded by them. And so Jesus' invitation would be to tend to our own healing, return to that source that opens up a capacity for compassion that even then can see with compassion to someone whose behavior is disturbing to us.
Okay, next, is there a place for spirituality in today's economics and politics?
I'll take that one. The easy questions. Absolutely. I mean, as a businessman, CEO of a company, I find that you can live both lives. You can be in harmony in your business life, your professional life, just as you are in your personal spiritual life. And I think that actually, when we become congruent, when we find harmony between the two, that's when we actually find peace. We don't have to live a double standard. We just live our life.
Religion is tribal, spirituality is individual. What are your thoughts about developing spirituality in a group setting?
Our religious traditions, especially I'm talking from Islam, is both individual and collective. Individual is very important. That is, it must start from the individual. It has to be starting from the micro level, then it will go to the macro level. If individuals are not reformed, society cannot be reformed. So it is important to work both ways, but at the same time we cannot ignore the society. Society must have justice, society must have kindness, society must have recognizing the rights of the other people. All of these things are necessary. And once the society becomes that way with peace and justice and harmony and getting the rights, taking care of the rights of the other people, that is what enhances the spirit of the people. So individual and society both have to work together. That is what is needed.
Victims of injustice can find it difficult to forgive. How can we help them?
Well, forgiveness is the Lord's. It's God's will, God's purpose to forgive. Up to us, it's simply required that we forgive all people, and that's a big order. It's a tall thing to do, but I find that Dr. Hatut's little analogy about Bosnia at the beginning of this meeting, he said, I would like to see the Bosnian Muslims just say, I forgive. That's a powerful, powerful message, and that struck my heart. I think all of us could learn from that. We simply sometimes just need to forgive. It doesn't always make sense. It's definitely not easy, but we need to forgive to find spiritual peace.
Can I say a word? Just because I have another piece that I agree with all of that, but I also have a piece that I want to nuance that can be controversial. My favorite book on forgiveness is a book that's called Don't Forgive Too Soon. And I work with sexual abuse survivors who wrestle with this a great deal. And there's a couple of things. I believe forgiveness is a grace that comes to us through a healing process. And it's a beautiful journey when we can get to a place where we are no longer enslaved to or hampered by the wounds that have happened to us. But there are two nuances I would make to that. The first is it is a journey. And along the way, we experience ourselves at angry sometimes. Sexual abuse survivors have a lot of outrage at what has happened to them. And in our tradition, when they hear, well, you just need to forgive and let go, they experience that as very bad news. It's very hard. And I actually think it trivializes the healing journey, that there's something in our outrage and our anger sometimes that also needs to be held and brought into the light light of grace. And so we hold our anger, and sometimes that anger is an invitation for someone who's been abused to be able to claim a personal power that says, I will no longer be violated, and I need that personal energy and strength that comes from the Spirit of God to be able to do that. And that comes through the anger that we feel. So the healing journey, I would say, is we hold with compassion wherever we are on that journey, even our difficulties to forgive. We can hold before the light of grace, and the sacred can restore those so that we are freed into forgiveness. And the second piece is that forgiveness is an internal healing that allows me to be able to be free of the wound and damage that I've experienced by another. And I could even perhaps look at them with some measure of compassion then. But forgiveness is not the same thing as reconciliation. Reconciliation means to be in right relationship with another human being. And for that to take place, the person who has been an abuser needs to be willing to repent of their activity. To tell a survivor of abuse that you need to forgive and just relate to this abuser as if nothing happened is really a violation of her spirit, of his spirit. It's putting her in danger, her children in danger. For reconciliation to happen, there needs to be a process of restorative justice, of accountability, that can be done with compassion and nonviolence. But it's different than forgiveness. And one of the confusions that a lot of people have that I work with is that forgiveness means I need to be reconciled with somebody, even when they're still dangerous. And it's very painful to hear that.
Just one point that I would like to add. I agree with all this what is said. Very often we forgive ourselves but don't forgive others. We find a lot of excuses for ourselves, for our mistakes, but we don't find excuse for others' mistakes. So it is very important to bring yourself to judgment, but forgive others. I mean, that is the improvement that will come with that. If the Prophet says, "Hasibu anfusakum," check yourself, judge yourself. And that is correct yourself, improve yourself. But others try to find many excuses for them, for what they have done.
Do we have to go through pain to become spiritual?
I think I would like to quote Dr. Siddiqui on that. I think the answer was definitely yes. Life is a test. That's a great statement. We're being tested to see how we deal with adversity and pain. I think there is no gain without some pain. I think it's part of life. I think it is part of our journey here. I agree with Dr. Siddiqui's teaching on that.
I think in the interest of time, we're going to stop to allow some real interfaith dialogue to occur after we close, but I will end with one of Hassan Hathout's poems. Friends in faith, rise while you still have a choice. On the wings of love, soar above, and sing with your hearts, not only your voice. God is love, God is love, God is love. Thank you.